This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to support our show. The Battlefront podcast is also brought to you by Star Wars Uplink, Titus Sheep Entertainment's new podcast hosted by Sage Goodwin and Jared Bilby, covering everything Star Wars gaming, past, present, and future. Search Star Wars Uplink on your favorite podcast app and look for the tie-dye.
Activate your personal shield and get your traits level 3 because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
Welcome to the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. We have very special guests joined in our studio.
Bo and
Brett Sims.
These are the famed cousins we've been talking about on our podcast for a very long time. Hashtag shout out. Hashtag shout out.
Hashtag.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Death Star DLC, what we think of the new announcements that they've had, and what we want to see in a game mode and the maps. Let's get started. So what do you guys think of the new hero and villain, Bosk and Chewbacca?
well, I'm mainly excited for Chewbacca, not so much about Bosk.
What about you, Brett?
Chewbacca should be OP like Dengar was in the last DLC.
I definitely hope that Chewbacca is going to be the beast in the DLC. Not so much the villains, because the villains don't need
Another beast.
another beast, because they've already got every single person on the villain side from the original game and the DLC is just way better than the heroes all around. And I think with Chewbacca, they will definitely be able to make him a gigantic beast, because he is a gigantic beast. And then we've got the trailer. So let's talk about that trailer that they dropped for the Star Wars Celebration.
I wish they actually put actual gameplay.
It's pretty cool
Yeah.
what they did though.
How they showed what all the stuff that's going to be optional there, like all that going in an X-wing
Trench run.
inside a Death
trench
Star.
run.
Yeah.
I want to see
Yeah.
it like a mode where you're actually supposed to take down the Death Star. That would be really cool.
What's cool
Finishing
about
off
that
the
is that they
battle.
started out with the Star Destroyer. So that leads me to believe that the Star Destroyers are going to be a big role in the DLC.
I doubt they'd be playable though.
I like if there's space battles though.
Yeah.
They could actually now put space battles in the game.
And a cool thing that they could do with the Star Destroyer is have a pickup where you control some of the little turrets on the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Well, they're probably going to like go out bigger than the last few DLCs because this is going to be the only one of the maps that isn't on an actual planet. It's in space, and plus the fact it's the last DLC of the original trilogy before they put in Rogue One.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they go out with a bang.
Yeah, they better, because this is the last of the original trilogy, as Bo said.
I want to see Chewbacca's fur.
Chewbacca's fur is gonna be.
I want to see what it looks like in this game.
Bo said he wanted to see, as Chewbacca's one of his abilities to be able to rip off stormtroopers' arms.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. I hope that his fur doesn't glitch the game like Han's.
Oh yeah.
The Han's
Yeah.
Hoth
That,
suit
or
did.
like whenever the game first came out, Palpatine had that invisible cape glitch. I hope
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ran into that a lot.
yeah.
And then he had the cape thing where it was flying all
Yeah.
over the place.
above his head. And
I've
it's
seen that
so
with
weird.
the Red Royal Guards.
And plus the whole deal where you're getting kicked off different servers and stuff.
Yeah, we've been experiencing that a lot lately, where we join a server, then get kicked off, and then we rejoin that exact same server and start playing.
It just feels like you wasted time for a bit.
And with that they still have that weird wait time when you go into Bespin map and it's just loading.
Yeah, forever.
Then we've got the new maps. So what are you guys hoping for the new maps?
I hope they have an inside Death Star DLC and then the basic, Fighter Squadron. I hope they have some stuff for that. But like the space battles, I hope that kind of intertwines with that. But I actually really want to see the black flooring inside the Death Star because that gives me so much nostalgia.
I hope they don't go just in the space battles. I hope they do with the game mode where you get in on the ground inside the Death
Yeah.
Star and then you go
Yeah.
into a spaceship.
Like the original
like-
Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fun.
And we've been playing a lot of Battlefront 2
It's
lately.
Yeah.
buggy compared to what we remember it, but it's still as fun.
It's going into that kind of stuff with
Yeah.
the brain where when you're into it and then you go back and kind of remember it, it's all glossed over and shiny and bright and new. But then when you go replay it or rewatch it, it doesn't live up to those expectations, but you've still got the nostalgia
But,
of it.
there's still that excellent idea of all the stuff they had in Battlefront 2, and if they put that in the new Battlefront, those kind of space battles, like where you take down different sections, I would love that.
I'm just so excited because I think this is going to be the most like the original Battlefront 2. It just seems like that it's going to be a darker game mode, which the original Battlefront had. So it had the darker maps, and then I'm hoping they do it right with the laser cannon. I hope like at a certain amount of time the laser cannon fires if you're in that certain area, or you could activate it kind of like in the carbon freezing chambers. And you guys just got the DLC. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I still haven't experienced everything I need to.
It's more like Star Wars Battlefront 2. with
Yeah, the
base
season
limit,
pass.
Yeah, like, there's more little hidden areas now in Battlefront, like that whole carbon freezing chamber. Like in Battlefront 2, I think in the Death Star map, you could actually find that little ventilation thing that entered the trash compactor room.
Oh, cool.
And you actually could destroy that vent and then like jump inside.
I hope they have the trash compactor.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be so awesome to
love that.
have. Like you fall down there, and it starts
Yeah.
closing in on you.
And plus, that'd be if they could actually give a second opportunity to put that alien in there. You know that one that
Yeah,
was in there.
the-
It was in another DLC.
Dianoga.
The Dianoga.
Wasn't that the Outer
Yeah.
Rim or something like that?
Yeah.
It was in there. Yeah.
That thing's way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's huge. And then
Well, it's because it gave you the illusion of it being small whenever you just saw this little
Yeah.
eye pop out of the water. It made me think of R2-D2's eye,
Yeah.
you know, whenever it pops out of the swamp in Dagobah. Oh, and I would love to see that in the next game, Dagobah.
yeah, Dagobah. That would be awesome. And going into that a little bit, Battlefront 2, the new one that's going to be coming out in 2017. I'm excited for that. I hope they just don't do the new movies, the pure
Yeah.
new movies.
I want to do everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Like the
Complete.
Battlefront
Battlefront 2
1
did.
to Battlefront 2
Yeah,
did
how
in
they
the
did
original one.
clones and stormtroopers, droids, and rebels.
Yeah. You know what's weird, what we were talking about earlier? We were saying that we want the new Battlefront to have more stuff in it. What EA likes to do, and what a lot of developers like to do these days, is to release the game and then listen to the feedback and then release good DLC.
Yeah.
So
I hope
that's-
they just put like as much DLCs as there is actual game, or more game than the actual DLC, because people want to buy their. There was a whole controversy whenever the game came out that there's more DLCs than there was an actual game.
What's weird about movies and video games, how different they are. The sequels to movies are usually bad.
Yeah, really.
But
Yeah.
the sequels to video games, they are extremely good. But that's what
Arkham
I'm.
City, Battlefront 2.
That's what I'm so excited for, because they're going to learn from all their mistakes. Like they've learned so much from the original game to the DLC. I mean, that blows my mind. Could you imagine a game where they've learned all the mistakes that they've made, learned from all of those, and
Made
then
'em
put
better.
it all the good stuff in a Battlefront
Like a
2.
story,
Yeah.
all that. I would love a story.
Campaign.
I want to see them do what they did like on Battlefront 2. But I would like, you know how they had the evolution from clones to stormtroopers? I would like to see that redone, but then turned into what's called the First Order. Or
Yeah,
something
the
like that.
First Order
I would
or the
love
New
to see-
Resistance.
Yeah, I would love to see like both sides of the story.
Going to clones.
Like, you know,
to
what was that
stormtroopers, to
Twilight,
First
the
Order.
what's it called, the book?
Yeah, Twilight.
I want them to actually
Twilight
have
Company.
characters that go through this kind of war.
I hope they have more story than the original Battlefront 2,
Yeah.
because when you think about that, it doesn't really have much substance
it doesn't
as
have
a
much story. Yeah, it was just fun to play.
It's
It's
real-
more chapters.
Like you get
It's
this.
still, you get this loving
You
feeling
get
whenever you
this
see
logbook, and then it's a little like it's a journal from the clone trooper's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
But I want that expanded to where you actually get in there and see it not
Yeah.
after the
I'd
fact,
like
but
to-
actually in the moment.
it. I like it on offline. You also got to choose who you wanted to be. Like, if you want to play as a girl, you can play as a girl. If you want to play as a boy, you can play as a boy. You could choose whatever you want. Be an alien or
Yeah,
do
instead
something
of like
that.
this random stuff, like they've
Yeah.
got some random choices. Like in skirmish mode, you can't choose your skin at all. Like sometimes you
That's
reach-
why I'm
You
stuck
just-
with playing as a stormtrooper, because
you pop up as
I
a
want to be
alien.
what I want to be, or I don't. And plus, it gives you that surprise if you're like in the Empire, because you don't know what you are most of the time.
yeah,
Unless you have the helmet
Yeah,
on.
you do get that kind of thing.
Oh, I also hope in the Battlefront 2 there's no helmetless stormtroopers.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
that's not really
so
cool.
annoying.
That
Like,
is not right.
You
Yeah.
run around, you see a guy that has their helmet off, or a lady who has their helmet off,
Yeah.
and then you go over there, they kill you because you think there are rebels. You think they're rebels, and you're on the rebel side. I've done that so much where I'm running around, and then a guy that has his helmet off, and they kill me because
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're a rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope like there's like a more of a camouflage system, because sometimes whenever you're playing as the Imperials, also you have this, you're just out there. Like you see a bunch of camouflage, and then you see this full white.
Yeah, I want a camo trooper.
Yeah.
That would be so
That'd
awesome.
be really cool. But I also want them to do
For the-
add skins to have abilities in this.
I went for the new
Next game.
skin for the Rebels and the DLC to be at least a Wookiee or the Death Star Trooper.
The Death Star DLC is going to be really cool. I hope that they don't go too dark, like they've said it's going to be a darker mode, but I want it to be where, like,
I hope the
Similar
Rogue
to-
One is. I hope the Rogue
Similar
One
to
is
Battlefront
dark.
2's Death Star.
Battlefront 2, the original one, I have so much trouble seeing in some of those maps.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Jabba's Palace, it is
So-
extremely hard.
It's so if you have the PC, you don't see any of those pixels, and it's really easy to see. But like those, you feel like everything is like in one wall right in front of you. It's so weird to see and stuff. Like the pixels are everywhere.
And to get the full effect, we have our PlayStation 2 hooked into a CRT TV, the
Yeah.
big ones.
Because it's a lot better than it is a
It-
flat screen. Like
Yeah.
it's like really like the brightness is like all the way at the bottom on the flat screen. Like
Yeah, you definitely it scales up better because it was made for that. It wasn't made for a pixel to pixel thing. It's made for the
Yeah.
waves. that
I hope
the-
they remaster that for PS4 and Xbox
Yeah.
One.
I want that so bad. That would be so awesome to go around and play and maybe add like the online features that
Mm-hmm.
they had in there. But I don't see that happening since
The whole
they
what's
they
called
seem to be
pandemic
throwing
and stuff, and
they seem to be throwing that out the window. Like
because they
EA
want the online and stuff,
EA Dice acts like there wasn't even a Battlefront
Battlefront.
1 or Battlefront 2.
which is wrong to the fans because a lot of the people who bought this game were thinking it was going to be like the original.
Yeah,
But
which-
that was like a
which-
fun offline game, but now it's only online.
Which runs into the problem of them just saying it's calling it Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. If they could have called it a different
I
game.
don't even
and
think it's called Battlefront. Isn't it like EA's Battlefront or?
Star Wars Battlefront EA.
yeah, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, I don't think they should call it Battlefront.
But then you run into the problem of them having the fact that you might not attract as many
Yeah.
players because like a bunch of the people I've been talking to,
I've come
they,
from Battlefront 2.
they remember playing Battlefront 2 and then went to the new one. Like
That was a major jump, like
yeah,
graphic wise, but then also gameplay wise, it went up. Your character, how you like actually playing the game, is much better.
Yeah.
But it's just that the fact that you have less options to play with.
It's like Brett is a super fan of the Fighter Squadron, and he was having trouble with Battlefront 2 Space Battles.
yeah. I hope they do the ideas. Like I said earlier, the whole taking down like different areas inside the ship and outside the ship, like turrets, all that stuff.
Going into Chewbacca, from the images that they've released, it looks like he has a bowcaster.
Yeah. I also
should
want to
have
see. I want to see his different
Powerful
abilities. You
is
know.
the one from the Star Card, or
I hope it's a single shot bowcaster, like in the Force Awakens.
What are his
Yeah,
abilities
like-
going to be like though?
I'm thinking like a rush where he just like rushes through, scooping,
Yeah,
pushing
taking
people
storm-
to the side, and then a super shot of the bowcaster.
I think his middle
I
card
wonder.
should be.
I hope they don't do that. You know that little what's called ship pickup. I hope you could like you said actually go inside the ship, enter it, have
Yeah.
a little animation instead of it like on Battlefront 2 where it just sort of disappear and like you're in the ship.
Talking about what were you wanting to the middle card?
Maybe like a fusion of cooling cell and focus fire or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and what I want his trait to be is like the roar.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
It just like the more kills you get, and then you start getting in that rage Wookiee
Yeah.
mode
Yeah.
where you're just like
Like you gain
Destroy-
speed,
Yeah.
you gain speed, damage. That
Yeah.
would
but
be
your
awesome.
screen kind of gets muddled.
Yeah.
Open the next DLC. They also like try to put in with an update mix kind of with it. They try to put on all these DLC maps inside the offline game where you
Yes.
play
I want as many DLC maps on offline as
because
possible.
the
Best one
DLC
needs to
maps
be
are
in
like
the
better
skirmish.
than the the main games maps because the DLC's maps they look like the original games maps. Like Bespin, oh my gosh.
it's
That's like packed with nostalgia right there. Like it looked like
So good.
Battlefront 2 mixed with like kind of Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
No, like
Yeah.
complete
It's got
nostalgia.
it's got the glare the shine of like what you expect from like a Lego game.
Yeah.
And that just screams
But it has
out
that
quality.
it has the freedom of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, it feels it's weird. It feels like an open world game when
Yeah.
you go into that.
Yeah.
Even though like you do have the boundaries, but the boundaries usually go off like right into space, so it feels like you've got this huge area to play around in.
I'm ready to see a Battlefront 2 if they have huge maps. Like, and I want it to
Yeah.
be like I don't want it to be like I want you to worry about your team instead of like in the
Worrying about
actual
some
game, the main
objective,
game.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, I
More
think-
people worry about their objective and
their KD.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love playing in a party, but you can only do 2 people successfully. Like if
Yeah.
you get more than that,
You're screwed. You're gonna
It's
be like so
hard.
confused and
it's like, where are you?
Yeah,
I'm
well,
an
looking at it.
objective 1. I'm an objective 2.
Yeah.
But like when you do play with more than 2 people, it is so fun. It's like, I've got your back. Come on. There's
Yeah.
a guy behind you. I'm gonna get him. Oh, I just got killed. I'm gonna go.
it reminds me of
spawn on you.
Battlefront. It's like I wish their like PlayStation, Xbox may already have this. I think they do for Xbox 360. It's like a system sync. If you have 2 PlayStation 4s, you won't have to require internet or something like that, but you could just like play with each your own individual full screen.
Yeah.
And be able to do that kind of freedom like you had in Battlefront 2, you know?
And what would be cool to have a game mode is like have some AI in it too.
Yeah.
Like in Fighter Squadron,
it has
it's got
AI.
the AI in it. So even if
And
you
it's
don't
so
have
pleasuring whenever you shoot an AI,
Yeah.
a stormtrooper.
and it'd be cool if they had the names like in the skirmish mode.
Yeah. Like
And
Kit Bassar or something.
Yeah, Brett ran into a guy and his name was from the original Battlefront 2. Was it Kip Assar?
Yeah, I kept
Kit
that.
Astar.
Astar. That is awesome. I want the new weapons to be close range pistols because I love the
Yeah.
new pistols that they have. The DT-12 looks
yes.
so awesome in first person, and then it's such a great weapon to use. It feels really good. The sound is perfect for it.
I want them to put tanks in the game. Like, you know, like in
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, you got
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tanks.
You
That
need to
was
have the
so
tanks.
fun.
Or like speeder bikes, like the.
That would be
Yeah.
a good thing to add for Rogue One DLC
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they've got those big tanks.
Yeah,
They've got
they've confirmed those pictures. They're
fight AT-ATs
awesome
and stuff,
looking.
they-
No,
Yes,
the
add those
what is the new AT-AT thing?
I cannot remember what it's
The
called.
AT
Walker, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
AT-RT or something
Something
like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
But that
It's
I hope
faces
that
like
the
that.
Walker Assault, like when they had a Walker Assault, is changed to that one. The Death Star DLC. What haven't we covered? Oh, star cards.
Star
Yeah.
Cards, yeah.
What would you like to see from a star card?
All new weapons also.
Yeah.
As I said, the invisibility one.
Invisibility,
Yeah.
yes,
that'd be
that'd be
so
good.
cool.
Sort of like the
Like
Bothan
Bothan
Spy.
Spy.
Yeah.
Or-
I want to see a Bothan Spy in Battlefront too.
Yeah.
I want a stun gun.
Yeah, I want to
That would
stun.
be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be pretty
The,
cool.
with the circle
I
spread
want them to
of
make
the
it look
weapon.
like it could legit stun people. I want it to look like that, but I don't want it to look like, you know, that one, what's it called?
The shot grenade.
No, do you
I
know
don't
that
think-
one, what's it called? Emote, where the guy just starts shaking.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't look like that.
I hope they go limp, just like.
Yeah.
But they
what's the
still
point?
standing
You
up.
might
want
as well
them to-
just shoot them.
Add like in.
Like
a
say
visit to,
say
like,
he's
Battlefront
claiming
2.
your objective.
Yeah.
You shoot him with that, but you wait for
Mm-hmm.
your gun to get done overheating.
Yeah,
Like,
like you
you
have,
missed- you
you have
missed the-
something to use, like, because if your gun's still overheating, you don't
I think
have
that
anything.
should just be a star card.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. A
that's
star
what
card.
you're
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
what I'm
star
saying.
card.
That'd be a good
Not
star
like
card to add.
have your gun have a stun mode.
Yeah, not that because
Not that.
I don't think they'll be able to implement that in this Battlefront. Because that would change how the game would work.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd have to go in there, change the UI, and talking about UI a little bit. What do you guys think of the UI?
I really don't have a problem with it at all. Like,
I think you need a secondary weapon for like they did in Battlefront 2, so you can switch off.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And I want a way
yeah,
you can
that
change
would be
your
cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember Battlefront 2, like, you were, like, screwed. Like, you ran out of ammo. Then you had that one gun, that infinite ammo.
infinite ammo,
It
yeah.
was cheap, but it still worked. Like, it finished off that guy that you were...
I want to be able to
Yeah,
Yeah, like
change
you
my.
could have a
Song.
long range and a close range.
Yeah.
I
wanted.
want to change my
Like
star
pistol.
card hand when I die too.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if you could dual wield
Like,
pistols.
Bunch of games like shooters and stuff, Uncharted, Call of Duty. I think you could actually change your hands and stuff.
Yeah.
I want them to do something like that. I don't want this to turn into a basic shooter.
Yeah,
I want this to
I want them to
stay,
keep
like, unique.
because it
That
feels like
good
it's a
Star
unique
Wars.
shooter. It's not Battlefield. It's not a Battlefield with a Star Wars skin on it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a different game, but it still captures that Star Wars feel that everyone wants.
I heard in, like, you know how the Battlefield 1's gonna have those blimps and stuff crashing? I heard they're gonna do that, something like that with the Star Destroyers. I want to see you explode a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
That's gonna be awesome because DICE is gonna learn their lessons from a completely different
yeah.
game and then
Make it better.
make the Battlefront 2 even better.
Kind of like Jakku. They kind of disappointed you.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be.
Thinking it was gonna be
I
Jakku.
feel like this is gonna be like
Jakku
the
anymore.
Assassin's
They
Creed
quit calling
2 of
it
it because
Jakku.
Graveyard
you know
of
Assassin's Creed
Giants.
1 was like
Yeah.
panned by critics and stuff, and the sequel had like a better character. Same with like Arkham Asylum did good, but Arkham City did way better. I want them to have like a sequel like that. I feel like they could learning by their mistakes like the other games did.
Yeah, and that's what I love about like having DICE make it because they they listen to their fan base. I mean, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we've been talking on the podcast, and I hope someone from DICE listens to the podcast, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm pretty sure someone does. I hope when Battlefront 2 comes out, we can get some of the developers on the podcast.
Yeah.
If
That'd
you are
be really cool.
if you are from DICE and you like our content, please contact us, because we would love to have an interview. That would be so awesome. The Star Wars Battlefront podcast is supported by our patrons on Patreon, who allow us to upgrade to new hardware and keep up the hosting for the podcast. If you have some extra money and would like to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/battlefrontpodcast. If you don't have the money and would like to support the show, you can head over to iTunes and leave us a review, and that is just as helpful because all of the reviews help us to grow and give us great feedback. One more thing before we get back to the show. One of our amazing listeners by the name of a Rogue27 gave us 2 microphones and a mixer, and I want to thank him so much on the podcast. Another awesome thing about this cool microphone that I'm using right now is it looks like the communicator Luke uses in A New Hope. Thank you all so much for listening to the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Here's the show. Going back to the Death Star. The feel of the Death Star will most likely be really cool. It's going to capture that ominous feel, I hope.
Yeah.
And then...
You, like, don't know what's going to go up next. Like, you know, like that... Since whenever Luke and them all saw the Death Star for the first time, like, that's
no moon.
Yeah.
I think there should be like a little Easter egg where you see the Millennium Falcon inside the Death Star.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like,
or see...
That'd be kind of like
a
the second
cool-
time you'd see that. They'd probably use the same texture they had earlier
Yeah.
from Tatooine, you know? They had that
Yeah.
one sitting that...
Yeah.
A cool Easter egg would be that if you look hard enough, you could see Darth Vader's cape going across the corner.
Oh, let's see Obi-Wan's cape on the floor.
That's what I was
Yeah,
about
That
to
would be
say.
Yeah,
so
that'd be
cool.
cool.
I would love that. Why have they put Obi-Wan in this game?
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
Even cooler would be like, you know how you could see a thing closing at the beginning of the match
I want,
where...
if they put extra Jedis in this game, if
Yeah,
they could,
that's
they
what I'm
could
saying.
have put...
In the next Battlefront, they need to put more.
Or they
Jedi
could have an
in it.
invisible
It's too late
wall
now,
where
yeah, it's too late now.
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
and Darth Vader fight.
Yeah.
They could be like infinitely fighting.
I hope they
Yeah,
do.
but
I
like-
hope they do something interesting with Darth Vader or Palpatine somewhere. Like maybe have the Emperor's lightsaber on the ground. That would be a cool nod because he doesn't have a lightsaber in this, so there's got to be a reason he doesn't have a lightsaber.
because we know he had it in the prequels, that awesome gold one. Like, I would
And he
love
also
to
had
see
one-
that in the next game. He has a pimp gold one.
Yeah.
I would love to see all the characters have a different texture, like and a different gameplay ability from the different series they were in. Like Palpatine would have 2 different abilities, like one from this game plus with some new abilities. With the younger version of Palpatine with the gold lightsaber, him being more like powerful because he could kill like 6 Jedi at a time.
I'm expecting
yes.
there's going to be a ton of Easter eggs in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
There aren't many Easter eggs in the Bespin DLC, so there's not enough to do a video because we would have done a video if we had the chance.
The best thing in there is what's called
the Slave One.
Slave One's cool, but the Carbon I also like the Carbon freezing chamber.
You
Like
hop
that.
down into it and then you get frozen.
It's not really an Easter egg. It's kind of revealed in the trailer, but like
I want
that house
some
is
mouse
cool.
droids running around too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See one of those like. Yeah.
I would love to see like after like when you're doing the when you're in the TIE fighter or something like that. Not TIE fighter, in the X-wing. Whenever you're taking out the Death Star or something like that, or if you're on the Death Star, you could see like
The little
Darth
vent
Vader's
locking on.
TIE fighter crashing or
Oh
something.
yeah,
like
like
that.
What'd be
spinning
awesome
away.
is that if they do a trench run mode, you could hear Obi-Wan's voice
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
background.
Use
saying,
the Force,
Yeah.
Luke. Use
I
the
would
Force.
love that. I want them to do like a kind of like objective game. You know, like the original arcade game, the Star Wars game, where you actually
we had
just,
to,
you
right
actually
down
had to
into the
dodge the
trench.
different things. That'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool. But I want them to do like multiplayer based, like where you're gonna have to catch up to these people, or
Or
that,
may-
or a pod racing thing.
You
on the
get-
next
Potter,
game.
yeah.
you get
game.
Luke's thing as a pickup, a hero pickup,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you can
Yeah.
go.
I would
Luke's
love to
X-Wing,
see.
Luke's
I want to
X-Wing.
see more hero.
Yeah,
what's called
more
like
hero
different.
pickers from Fighter Squadron.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
want
instead of
that
2,
the
like
most.
2 is
you could do Luke's X-wing and Darth Vader's TIE fighter.
And I say they
Tide
changed
TIE
the,
bomber.
Tide Dancer.
They need to
Oh, the
change the
TIE
hero
Dancer or TIE
pickup to
bomber.
where it should be random.
yeah. I hope
Or a Y-wing. I also want Y-wings.
I want hero pickups to be random.
Because
Yeah.
there's always that one guy that knows the spots.
Yeah, Brett. Brett always knows.
You do?
Yeah,
Brett
I know
knows
where-
every- Brett knows
I know
where
the hero
every
pickup
ship-
is every map.
So going back to the Death Star, they're like from the picture that they have released, they've got Darth Vader's TIE Advance bomber.
Yeah.
I would love that. Wait. That is that legit? I thought they all
Yeah,
had to.
it's got
Yeah.
him in.
So wait, they have a new hero.
Or it could just be because there's
bomber.
more of those Tide Dancers. It could be in another.
I hope
ship,
they put
new
Darth
ship.
Vader's. I want them to. Yeah,
I
like you
want
said
them to
earlier,
put in-
new heroes
Yeah.
And they need
It's
to
like-
put more ships in
Like they just like
Yeah, they've only
Space
got
battles.
3
They've almost
ships
abandoned-
counting the DLC.
they've almost abandoned Fire Squadron. That DLC, the last one, that's like the
They need
first
to
time
put
we've seen it in a while.
They need to
Yeah.
put in the Y-wing or the.
The Y-wing would be
B-wing or
so
something.
fun to have. It's
Yeah.
Like on Walker Assault, I mean, I would love to be able to do the Y-wing and actually bomb the Walker. That would
Yeah.
be really fun.
The reason is probably because there's griefers that won't, or they refuse to bomb it.
Well, there's not much griefers in the game. You can't like do anything to your own team really.
Except kill them with speeder bikes.
Yeah, except for that. That's almost a glitch.
I want a free update where it's got a hero and a villain and a game mode, just
Yeah.
free for everyone. That would be so awesome just to close all the DLC out.
You don't get those hero and villains for everything. Those people that didn't pre-order get the DLCs, but it's only for that one different game mode or something like that they
no,
come
like
with.
a free update for everything. It comes with the heroes and the villains and a game mode. Like they're like, thank you guys so much for sticking with us this
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a free update where you get a new game mode.
There's this like whole group that still loves Battlefront.
Yeah,
And then
there's
there's
this-
this whole group that's like cringe-worthy about it. Like, you know, the people. Well, that's like they've been about that since the game came out.
Yeah, and I
100
hope in
people.
Battlefront 2 they have like this huge game mode
Yeah.
where it's like 75 people. But,
Yeah,
Might as
versus
well
but
go to
if
100.
100 people, and then if you get dropped out, it's going to be an AI. So like if they
master AI.
if they don't fill up to a certain point, it
Yeah, the
fills
rest
it up
fills
with
up,
AI.
yeah.
And then
That's
there's a
what I'm
master AI that's always on the top whooping everyone.
Yeah.
I'd like to see like more like things put in, like, you know how they have some sources of comedy, you know, like in the emotes. I want them to do like little like render modes or something like that, and like
Like
it-
Uncharted 4?
yeah, something like that. Like I want to see them kind of add a little comedy.
It'd be cool if they had like 70s.
yeah,
like a
I was
70s
that, or
mode.
like a
Like-
Yeah,
Battlefront 2
70s
texture. You
would
know,
feel-
the original Battlefront 2 texture
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
new Battlefront 2. That'd be hilarious. I'd love to see that. And
see them go like
that,
that.
Brain,
or a
or-
mode called Battlefront 2 where you're moving really slowly and
Or like
stuff.
comic book style, that would be cool.
Yeah, or you know, like the what's called the outline thing. What is it called?
Cell shaded?
Cell shaded. Yeah.
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 That has a comic
So-
book feel to it to me.
I'm super excited, and hopefully with the new consoles coming out, the Scorpio and then
Neo.
the alleged Neo that they haven't released much details about. But with that, I hope they bump it up to at least 1080p, and then if you do have those new consoles, up to 4K. This episode was brought to you by our patrons from Patreon. You can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Battlefront Podcast, and support the show. We would really appreciate you doing that. Now, you can contact us through our email, battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com, to be a guest on the show, or to give us some feedback of what you would like to see, or suggest topics that you would like us to cover. If you want to be on the show, you can send us an email with the subject podcast guest and a topic. We do the podcast through Skype, so make sure you have a Skype account.
If you want to record our intro, which is currently activate your personal shield and get your trait to level 3, you can send that in, record it, and you can substitute personal shield for your favorite star card.
And you can also say, your name, I am a listener of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Then activate your personal shield and get your trait to level 3, because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
If you want to contact us, our Twitter is TieDyeSheepYT.
Yeah, you can talk Star Wars with us, or you can just talk Battlefront, and or suggest topics and that kind of stuff.
Or you can find the Instagram that Sage runs at TieDyeSheepFilms.
And that's all for this episode. May the Force be with you always.